Greetings, my friend. This evening, we journey not to cozy castles or flickering candlelit banquets, but to the embrace of smoky huts and the chill of the frozen ground. In the depths of winter during the Middle Ages, the true essence of the season unfolds. Without glory, without armor. In a world cloaked in the chill of winter, humble souls strive against the relentless grip of hunger and the haunting echoes of solitude. Snow whispered its way through the roof, a gentle cascade of white that danced into the room. The loaf hardened into an unyielding rock. The wolves drew nearer. And each day, you rose to embrace the cycle once more. If a gentle, rooted narrative allows you to relax, you're welcome to express your appreciation for the video and join our community, but only if it truly brings you tranquility. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Share where you're tuning in from and what time it is on your clock. There's a peculiar warmth in recognizing the presence of others beyond our own horizons. Now let us lower the lights. Perhaps you could activate a fan to create a gentle, soothing background hum. Envelop yourself in a cozy embrace. And so we embark on a season that not only challenged the spirit of individuals, but sought to extinguish their very essence. The signs of winter's approach are all around you, no calendar required. It begins deep within a sensation that resonates through your very core. They become as rigid as stale loaves from the day before. Then in the sky, which transitions from a vibrant blue to a hesitant shade of gray. And at last, in the creatures who gaze at you with a hint of quiet suspicion, as if they possess knowledge beyond your grasp. And often, they truly do. The season of autumn lingers on, never truly fading away. It withdraws with a gentle grace. Leaves drift down, yes, but there's more to it than that. It's the whisper of the wind as it shifts its course. It begins to weave its way through the crevices of the cottage, wandering like a curious intruder, rummaging about, discovering the hidden warmth and driving it away. As the sun begins to set, the clucking of the chickens fades into a gentle hush. The dog ceases its barking at the wind, turning its attention to the whispers carried by the breeze. That's the signal that the moment is almost upon us. The sun, when it deigns to appear, carries a fragile warmth, as though it has lost the memory of its own embrace. And all move with a touch more urgency, not due to haste, but because remaining motionless brings more pain now. There's a subtle unfolding, a quiet moment, without the fanfare of a dramatic reveal. Winter creeps in softly, much like an uninvited obligation, bringing with it a weighty significance. Denial is the initial step in every tale. You weave a tale where the cold is but a fleeting whisper, a mere breath of frost, nothing more. The tunic you donned in October still clings to you, yet now it is accompanied by a cloak that seems to be more spirit than mere fabric. You promise yourself that you'll fix it. It seems unlikely, not due to a lack of effort, but because the needle has lost its way and the threads have vanished, leaving your fingers too numb to grasp either one. We often discuss the art of being prepared as though we are perpetually equipped for what lies ahead. Yet if we speak truthfully, many winters come knocking before we've fully embraced the beauty of autumn. There lingers a forgotten corner of the roof that awaited your touch, and a pile of wood that yearned for your axe's embrace. There's always a lingering treasure in the garden, something that slipped through the fingers of time untouched by drying, salting, or storing. Yet you strive to do your best. You carefully pack straw into the crevices of the wall, ensuring every space is filled with the soft golden fibers. With a graceful sweep, you let the fabric cascade over the entrance. You shift the beds, drawing them nearer to the warm embrace of the hearth, ensuring that all find comfort in its glow as they drift into slumber. Even Uncle Gain, with his sheepish scent and his nighttime murmurs of forgotten debts, weaves a curious presence in our tales. One does not tend to flames from dawn till dusk. What a splendid indulgence! Wood serves as the backdrop for twilight gatherings, a source for culinary warmth, and the fleeting moments when smiles are shared, masking the deeper truths beneath the surface. In those moments, you depend on the dance of movement, the art of layering, and the warmth generated by a cluster of unwilling siblings huddled beneath a single rough blanket. The creatures feel it as well. They remain in close proximity to the refuge, savoring the moment. In a cozy corner, the chickens gather closely together. The pigs fall silent, an eerie stillness settling over the scene. The cows become increasingly restless, which is to say, they stay just as they always have. Beyond the threshold, the earth transforms into a solid metal expanse. The trails that were once muddy last week have transformed into perilous roots, half-frozen ruts that ensnare ankles and devour boots. A delicate layer of ice forms upon the surface of the water in the bucket, a quiet testament to the chill in the air. Each morning, you shatter it with a ladle, muttering softly as the chill seeps into your hands. And the sky, oh the sky, lingers there low and gray, filled with anticipation, as if it's holding its breath for what's to come. You gaze intently, as though deciphering secrets, as if the clouds themselves whisper tales to you. While they may not, they certainly imply that the sun will be a distant memory for several weeks to come. In the bustling town, the rhythm of footsteps quickens as people hurry along their paths. They use brief phrases. Humor fades away. The atmosphere feels rather subdued. Even the church sermons take on a more somber tone. The priest gently suggests that the chill in the air serves as a divine nudge towards embracing humility. One might ponder whether the divine could consider a more inviting approach to imparting wisdom. And then, at long last, one fateful morning it unfolds. Snow falls gently, a whisper of winter. Not a blizzard, not yet. A mere whisper of powder, like blossoms scattered across the meadows. Yet it transforms the entire narrative. The thatch transforms to a ghostly white. The trees stand rigid. Your breath escapes in delicate puffs, and each footfall outside whispers like the crinkling of ancient parchment. And with that snow arrives the understanding you are now ensnared. The earth has drawn its curtains for the season. Cease the toil of digging, let the planting come to an end. Nothing will flourish. The treasures you've gathered are all that remain in your possession. And if you didn't gather enough well, you'll discover just how meager a stew can truly become. You start to measure time in a new way, not by days, but by collections. What is the remaining count of firewood bundles? What is the total number of grain sacks? How many turnips are there? What is the egg count for this week? Few indeed, for the hens cease their laying when the chill of winter sets in. They gather close to the warmth of the fire, much like the rest of the crowd. Amidst the whirlwind of activity, you find yourself engaged, though the fruits of your labor may seem elusive. You repair garments. You clean the remnants from the pans. You sift through the remnants, yearning to uncover a hidden ember beneath the surface. When the moments allow, and they frequently do, you weave the fibers of wool into tails. It serves a purpose beyond merely creating fabric. It serves to keep your hand in motion, your thoughts engaged. In the stillness, the mind begins to weave tales of its own. The animals are more than mere companions. They share a life together. The ones with warmth are beckoned to enter, not in a single breath. There are limits, yet they blend together to transform the home into a rich tapestry of aromas, melodies, and the warmth of togetherness. One becomes accustomed to the gentle warmth of a goat's breath against their neck upon waking. Well, perhaps not accustomed to it, but you cease resisting. Evenings cast a shadow of despair. The sun bids farewell too soon, and the shadows creep in as if they carry a grudge against the fading light. Candles come with a hefty price tag. The glow of tallow lamps carries a hint of smoke. As you settle close to the flickering flames, you immerse yourself in the tales that dance in the air, the whispers of the wind, and the rhythmic crackle of the burning wood. At times, an individual feels compelled to weave a tale of the supernatural. It often appears to be a splendid notion that is until the moment dawns when you must traverse the icy expanse of the yard to reach the privy afterward. With every ounce of energy, you flee. You make every effort to keep your footing steady. One must certainly avoid gazing into the shadows. And yet winter holds its own charm amidst the chill. There exists a cadence, a certain bittersweet familiarity that unfolds. Familiar tasks that await us. You're aware of the boundaries, and there's an odd bond in realizing that everyone else shares in the same misery. One discovers the warmth that comes from cherishing the little triumphs along the journey. For a brief moment, let your feet bask in warmth. A stew that carries a hint of hope rather than the weight of despair. A day devoid of the wind whispering through the crevices in the wall. You find joy in the stillness. For the moment, your laughter rises too high. A gentle voice will whisper that our journey has only just started. In days of yore, we humble folk often found ourselves struggling through the harshness of winter. As the 14th century dawned, a chilling transformation swept across Europe, ushering in an era of harsher, longer winters that would shape the lives of many. Once the rivers lay still, beneath a blanket of ice, and the fields stood barren, their promise of harvest lost to the unforgiving chill. In certain years, the river would freeze completely for months, transforming into a bustling marketplace right upon its icy surface. Indeed, there was a time when folks ventured onto frozen rivers for their shopping until the ice had its own plans. During the tumultuous years of 1315 to 1317, relentless rain cast a shadow over the land, devastating crops, and leaving the fields barren for seasons on end. The air was not merely chilly, it was a harbinger of hunger. a staggering 30 million individuals impacted. In times of scarcity, the human spirit finds a way to weave creativity into the fabric of survival. In hushed tones, tales of cannibalism intertwined with the dark shadows of infanticide, not the kind of tale you'd share over a meal, yet there were times when the table was empty. Ah, but therein lies the magic of winter. It's about embracing the chill and weaving it into the fabric of our journey. It's a tale of perseverance through one another. In a cozy little nook, a family of 6 finds warmth and companionship alongside 3 spirited goats and 2 clucking chickens, all nestled together with a bucket of salted fish, making the most of their 20 square feet of shared life. It's a captivating journey with no way out. Every cough echoes, every complaint weaves a tale, and every unfortunate digestive twist unfolds like a chapter in a grand narrative. The concept of privacy fades into mere illusion. Modesty dances away with the dawn's embrace. You strive to avoid conflict, not from a place of patience, but because it disrupts the atmosphere and invites in the chill. And thus, you find your place. Your universe contracts to the intimate space encircling the flickering flames. You come to understand the heaviness of each blanket, the creak of every floorboard, and the cadence of the changing weather. As the days wane and the nights stretch out, time begins to melt away, transforming into a thick, unyielding broth of stillness. Your existence lacks true vibrancy. You are persevering, and in time, you cease to wonder about the duration of winter's embrace. Each day unfolds like a new chapter, where the goal is simply to navigate through the hours and emerge on the other side. Should fortune smile upon you, the firewood may just endure. Should fortune smile upon you, the roof may share in that blessing as well. For in the heart of a medieval winter, the chill arrives uninvited. It quietly enters and lingers for a time. And with the dawn, a new chapter unfolds. Winter weaves its chilling tale, not merely seeking to freeze you in its grasp. It overwhelms you with tasks. And at the pinnacle of that icy to-do list, wood awaited. A boundless supply of it. It's not merely about having a few logs to set the mood. Gathering firewood is essential, as if your very existence hinges on it, for indeed it does. All things dance in the glow of the flame. It prepares your meals, brings warmth to your soul, dries your damp socks, wards off pesky rodents, and transforms the dwelling into a place that is merely bearable. Without it, one cannot truly embody the essence of a peasant. You're a frozen treat entangled in the complexities of taxation. Yet fire does not simply materialize out of thin air. It requires timber, an abundance of it hewn, transported, chopped, arranged, and sometimes grumbled about. Collecting firewood feels like taking on an additional full-time role in the medieval world. Yet this one rewards with aches and the sting of frost. There exists no chainsaw, only electric-powered devices allowed. A simple axe, yet it carries the weight of generations, blurring the line between a humble tool and a cherished heirloom. The handle bears a crack. The edge lacks sharpness, yet it remains a more favorable option than relying solely on your hands, which, let's be honest, you might resort to once the axe finds itself lodged in the third log. In the season of autumn, your journey begins. Naturally, That's what everyone claims. Begin at dawn. Yet time always seems to slip through our fingers. The harvest lingers on, stretching beyond its expected time. Your neighbor has taken your axe for a time. And there you were attempting to flee from the wrath of an irate goose, only to find yourself with a sprained ankle. In the chill of December, you find yourself wielding steel against a tree, as if it had dared to offend your very lineage, all the while hoping it tumbles just where you need it to land. And the trees refuse to play along. They loom large, shrouded in mystery, and cloaked in a blanket of white. As you fell, a realization dawns upon you. The journey is far from over, for there remains the task of chopping, carrying, and stacking it all neatly. Say it again and again, 50 times over. Should fortune smile upon you, it may be that your only affliction is a sore back. If you're not careful, the tree may come crashing down upon you, turning you into a tale of warning for others. After the wood is skillfully chopped, it embarks on a journey of drying. That requires a considerable amount of time. Ah, the art of igniting something damp where it puffs and sputters, releasing wisps of smoke and refusing to catch fire properly. Well done. Your home has transformed into a lukewarm, smoky horror show. It seems the winter season may have other plans for your breathing comfort. The affluent naturally possess choices aplenty. They bring individuals on board. They dispatch their servants into the depths of the woods, all the while indulging in fine wine before a crackling fire. You, a humble servant, find your other half to be little more than a collection of damp twigs striving valiantly against the odds. In certain realms, the law forbids the gathering of wood, casting a shadow over the age-old practice. In the realm of nature, the forests are the domain of the noble. Should you find yourself gathering kindling on hallowed ground, the consequences can vary widely, from hefty fines to harsh beatings. And at times, you may even become a cautionary tale for the simple act of picking up sticks. Indeed, it is true. Thus, numerous peasants seek out different paths. Items such as peat-dried animal dung or bundles of brush. These ignite in much the same manner as one might argue that soup qualifies as a meal. Peat radiates warmth, yet there's an aroma that lingers, reminiscent of damp embers and unfulfilled dreams. While dung ignites with unexpected ease, we shan't deceive ourselves into thinking anyone finds joy in that fact. Yet one must make the most of what is at hand. With frozen hands, you collect the dried cow patties, all the while weaving a tapestry of memories from last summer's pasture in your mind. Here's the delightful twist. It comes at no cost. Alas, the unfortunate tidings reveal that your cottage now carries the scent of a campfire nestled within the confines of a barn. Gathering firewood is a craft that requires skill and finesse. When it's pulled too snug, it takes shape. Should it be too loose, it may topple and bring harm to your toe. Thus, you carefully construct a tidy stack beside the wall of your dwelling. Encase it with any fabric you can borrow from your cousin, and pray it withstands the weight of the falling snow. Indeed it shall. And one can never truly have enough. That is the guiding principle. No matter how much wood you chop, it always feels like it's just not enough. As February rolls in, you find yourself resorting to burning fence posts, discarded furniture, or anything that might just pass for timber. There's a stark absence of sentiment. If it ignites, it's sustenance. In your dreams, The scent of firewood dances through the air. You tally the timber instead of drifting into dreams. There are genuine debates about who ignited the prize stick too soon. You measure out the glowing remnants. You gather coals as if they were precious gems. And if you happen upon a notably parched branch hidden beneath the snow, you carry it home as if it were a prized trophy from a grand adventure. Slumbering through the winter months is a game of chance. If the flames extinguish the warmth within, fades leaving you to ponder the importance of having penned a will. You nestle in snugly beneath a cascade of blankets, furs, and the warmth of fellow beings. Not out of affection, but rather because the instinct to endure outweighs the need for solitude. In certain households, the livestock find their rest indoors as well. Not from a place of goodwill, but driven by the need to survive. In the cozy corners of the farm, chickens lay their golden treasures, offering not just eggs, but a gentle warmth that envelops the heart. Pigs are like warm, cozy radiators, but with hooves to roam the earth. Cows are like warm, gentle companions that express themselves with a soft moo. It lacks warmth. The atmosphere buzzes with life, a cacophony of sounds mingling with an aroma reminiscent of a petting zoo that has found its way into a bustling soup kitchen. Yet it offers a slight reprieve from the bitter grip of death's icy embrace. In times gone by, the lives of peasants were woven with threads of collective strength, not merely individual toil. In the heart of the village, neighbors would gather united in purpose to chop and haul wood, their laughter echoing through the trees as they toiled side by side. It was more a tale of endurance than of connection, woven through the threads of collective hardship. All were marked by blisters. All were gripped by the chill of the air. In a shared sea of despair, the collective suffering wove a thread of solace, making the burden a touch lighter to bear. In certain areas, individuals employed clever methods to conserve wood. Clay ovens were a communal treasure. The fires of the community flickered and danced throughout the day, a constant source of warmth and gathering. In the heart of the village, you would gather around the oven, each taking your turn to bake bread, all the while feigning indifference to the inviting warmth that seemed to radiate from Agnes's home. Curiously warm indeed. Gathering kindling women and children came together, their hands busy with the task at hand. Not due to simplicity, but rather because that was the way the tasks were allocated. In a time not so far away, if you were little and possessed nimble fingers, you would find yourself wandering into the woods, a basket in hand, with a solemn promise to return only when it was filled to the brim. What you brought back could have been twigs, or perhaps pine cones. Your involvement made a difference, regardless of the outcome. And then there's the act of chopping itself. A profound and haunting despair, reminiscent of a bygone era. The moment you slip on your gloves, they become drenched in mere minutes. As the chill seeps in your fingers, lose their warmth, becoming unresponsive to your touch. The axe falters. The wood fractures in an unexpected manner. A sudden impact strikes your shin. Your voice echoes through the air, not for the sake of assistance, but simply because it's the only option remaining. By midwinter, the earth becomes too unyielding to carve into. Your hands bear the marks of countless battles with splinters, and yet the mystery of the vanishing woodpile remains unsolved. Reveal ahead. Once more, your neighbor has taken it into their possession. And still, you press on for the flame is an unwavering companion. It's a gentle embrace. It's a feast for the senses. It's the fine line between welcoming the warmth of spring or becoming the cause of an even more unpleasant aroma in your cottage. As you settle beside the flickering flames under the night sky, weariness and the scent of smoke envelop you. A sense of tranquility washes over you. Not quite comfort, but rather a reprieve from the looming shadows of peril. In an age steeped in uncertainty, this fleeting moment feels like the closest embrace of serenity you can hope for. Indeed, there are winters that chill the bones more than others. Do you recall the ones that left a mark? The ones you can name without hesitation? Ah, the winter of 43. A time when the roof gave way and the long freeze gripped the land, transforming the river into a solid expanse of ice. It was a season when everyone with a spirit of adventure donned their wooden shoes and took to the frozen surface, attempting to glide and skate upon nature's frigid canvas. Not everyone found their way through. A handful stood still, caught in the moment. Some ventured out and never returned. Eventually, the questions fade away into silence. The firewood slowly diminishes. As the wind dances through the air, it lets out a soft whistle, weaving tales of distant lands and forgotten dreams. Your gaze lingers on the furniture, revealing a newfound perspective. That stool you always found unappealing now seems to beckon with a fiery allure. Emotion yields to the instinct to endure. When it ignites, it holds worth. At long last, the season of fall arrives. The snow withdraws, weary and reluctant, as if it were a thief slipping away into the shadows. The mud makes its return. Your boots disappear into the depths of it, yet here you stand. Once again, you have triumphed over the harsh grip of a medieval winter, emerging unscathed with ample wood to keep the chill at bay and your sanity intact despite the temptation to confront your cousin for pilfering your finest log. That is the triumph. There are no medals to hang, no grand parades to march in, just the chill of frost-bitten fingers, the lingering scent of smoke, and a profound sense of satisfaction in knowing you've defied the cold, refusing to become a mere popsicle. This year is not the one, that's for sure. As dawn breaks, the cycle begins anew, inviting you to embrace the familiar rhythm once more. As the whispers of spring draw near, the chill still clings to the air, and the tasks continue to unfold endlessly. And the fire, that capricious flicker and diminutive deity, forever yearns for more. Additional timber, increased toil, a greater share of yourself, and you offer it. For ultimately, it transcends mere comfort. It's a tale of endurance. With each splinter, a tale unfolds. And so the cycle continues anew with the dawn of tomorrow. Chop, stack, burn, freeze, and then do it all over again. Winter is not something to conquer. It is a season to endure. And if fortune smiles upon you, may next year's axe endure longer than your resolve. For in the final moments, winter remains indifferent to your weariness. The logs await the touch of a skilled hand to be transformed into firewood. The flames require sustenance to thrive, and warmth, that precious and elusive treasure, must be cultivated with care each and every day. The chill in the air and the bare branches whisper the arrival of winter. No calendar required. Your belly announces its presence, a loud and persistent reminder. It transcends mere hunger as we understand it today. That soft, inviting sound that nudges you to peek inside the fridge. It resonates with a profound intensity filled with fury, the sort of void that compels you to gaze at tree bark and ponder. Might I turn that into a stew? In the chill of a medieval winter, food resembles precious firewood, constantly dwindling, elusive in its procurement, and sure to ignite disputes among those who seek it. Meals are not merely planned, they are carefully rationed and artfully stretched to make the most of every morsel. Before you lies a trio of withered turnips, and yet you proclaim it a grand banquet. Begin with the treasures of your memory. Grains primarily barley, rye, and oats with wheat reserved for the affluent or those daring enough to take it from others. They are stored in sacks, barrels, or any container that promises to keep the pesky rats at bay, though that often proves to be a futile endeavor. In every twist and turn, the clever little creatures manage to carve their path. They resemble fluffy enforcers of the tax code, complete with a set of sharp teeth. Many of your meals center on pottage, that enigmatic stew of the medieval era. It's more of a journey than a mere recipe, a lifelong exploration of flavors and experiences. You toss in whatever you can find that's safe to eat, crossing your fingers that it won't lead to your demise. Imagine a humble feast of root vegetables, dried beans, and wilted greens, perhaps enhanced by a strip of dried pork. If fortune smiles upon you with royal connections or a kind-hearted neighbor, it brews, slowly, lingering for days, sometimes even weeks. Fresh elements have been introduced to the bubbling concoction. The ancients linger, their presence felt even in absence. It carries the flavor of simmered soil, touched by a whisper of onion and the weight of remorse. Each day, you indulge in it regardless. Twice a day, if fortune smiles upon you, not out of desire, but simply because it exists. And in the heart of winter, that is all one truly needs. Meat is a precious find. Alas, the absence of a freezer graces your abode. There's no cold cellar, to speak of merely a corner of the cottage that's a tad less dreadful. Should you find yourself in the autumnal act of dispatching a creature, a pig, a goat, or perhaps the least favored chicken of your neighbor, you would take care to salt it, smoke it, and dry it all, while ensuring it remains a well-guarded secret from the household. Particularly the children. Children have an uncanny ability to consume just about anything from uncooked bacon to the very string that held it together. At times, one might cast a line into the river, provided the water flows freely. The ice remains manageable, and the fishing rod hasn't already been sacrificed to the flames for warmth. Ice fishing exists, though it may not be the most enjoyable pursuit. With each careful strike, you carve into the frozen surface, feeling the chill seep into your very bones as your toes begin to fade into numbness. In that moment, you find yourself seated pondering the twists and turns that led to a cascade of choices that seem ever more foolish. Should you find yourself by the ocean's edge, consider the art of drying herring or the craft of smoking eel. It nourishes the body. It endures through time, and its flavor is precisely what you would expect. In the absence of water, one must turn to the bounty left unprotected by those living nearby. Bread holds a vital place, yet it dances on the edge of chance. crafted from an assortment of flours, be it rye barley, or even lentils often enriched with a touch of filler to complete the tale. In the air, a fine dust dances, remnants of wood, transformed by the craftsman's hand. Indeed, crushed acorns, perhaps some tree bark during a challenging season. The bread lacks that soft and fluffy quality. It's a curious creation, straddling the line between sustenance and a relic of ancient warfare. And at times, the bread puts up a valiant struggle. In the shadowy corners of damp storage, rye may become host to a curious little fungus known as ergot. This enchanting microbe weaves a tale of hallucinations, convulsions, and in some tragic instances, a dance with death. Ah, but this is a tale yet untold. All you understand is that the bread opens your eyes to a kaleidoscope of colors, compels you to shout at the clouds, and might just transform you into a prophet or a sorceress, depending on the gaze of the observer. Milk and cheese can be a boon for those tending to creatures that remain safe, sound, and close to home. When milk begins to turn, a transformation awaits. You can craft it into rich butter or savory cheese. The cheese stands firm, its salty demeanor casting an air of subtle menace. Butter is a treasure. You conceal it in fabric tucked away beneath your bed, as if it were treasure, for in the chill of winter, it truly is a precious find. Unlikely indeed. In the chill of winter, the chickens find themselves moving at a more leisurely pace. They find themselves preoccupied with the struggle for survival. Perhaps you'll receive one egg a week, or if you charm the hens and give the rooster a stern warning, maybe even two. That egg finds its place in the pottage, or you gaze upon it until your mind fills with the feast of your imagination. Vibrant produce bursting with flavor. How charming. Without apples, without greens. Perhaps a dried plum from last August, if it has managed to escape the clutches of decay, or the unwelcome company of a worm. The primary sources of vitamin C are often found in the tangy depths of sour cabbage and the zesty notes of fermented turnip, affectionately portrayed as a crisp letdown steeped in tangy essence. It wards off scurvy, yet also keeps companions at bay. Preservation holds the utmost significance. You preserve, enhance, and transform every morsel that once roamed, flourished, or shared space with the living. One might craft delightful jams from the berries, provided they were fortunate enough to discover them, and resist the temptation to indulge in a sugar-fueled frenzy the previous summer. Herbs dangle from the ceiling, cascading down into the soup like a gentle shower of leafy confetti, each one adding its own story to the pot. Every moment holds value. The bones undergo a double boiling process. The fat has been preserved. Even the remnants of the fire find their way into soap or serve as a tool for scrubbing pots. When food is discarded, one can't help but ponder the reasoning behind such an act. Or you choose to unite with them, for it's evident they possess the means to squander resources without a care. And then there exists the very essence of hunger, not a gentle pang, not the fleeting sensation of having missed a meal, but the deep gnawing hunger that makes your stomach press against your spine, a primal reminder of your need for sustenance. The kind that invites you to savor each bite, not for the taste alone, but to prolong the experience, craves a constant companionship during the winter months. It lingers by your side, observing your culinary dance, offering thoughts on your servings, critiquing the neighbor's squirrel stew, and declaring, "Actually, that looks quite decent." There's a cadence to the moment. As dawn breaks, a rumble in your belly stirs you from slumber. As you lay down to rest, the gnawing emptiness lingers, a reminder of the meal that never was. One becomes accustomed to the persistent ache that lingers in the background, as if a tiny creature nibbles away within your core. In time, the world around you fades into the background until the rich aroma of stew wafts from a neighbor's hut, prompting a whimsical thought of parting with a sibling. Even those who are somewhat better off among the peasants find their meals lacking. They consume a bit more of the same flavorless, grainy letdown. Every so often, a true gem comes to light. Golden honeycomb, crisp apple slices, and a morsel of salted beef, just the size of a coin, come together in a delightful tableau. It's a joyous occasion, not merely for the taste, but as a gentle nudge that life can hold moments of brightness amidst the shadows. And then arrived the lean years marked by poor harvests and the trials of crop failures. The winter of 1316, a time etched in memory, or perhaps in the tales that have been passed down through the ages. The fields succumbed to the relentless downpour, swallowed by the heavy rains. Decay began to take hold. The harvest fell to its knees. The livestock, once vibrant and full of life, now faced the harsh reality of starvation. Whole communities faced the pangs of hunger. They refer to it as the Great Famine, not for the sake of theatrics, but because it truly was as dire as it sounds. Once upon a time, there were those who feasted on the humble roots of the earth. Some dined on moss. Some might say that medieval cookbooks have their peculiarities, and stewed shoe leather is certainly one of them. In the quiet halls of time, the monks diligently preserved the tales of yore, their efforts a blessing to us all. They spun tales of whole families disappearing, of parents making heart-wrenching choices over the last morsel of bread, and of souls discovered in snowdrifts grasping turnips as if they were precious jewels. It transcends mere folklore. It's the overlooked whispers of the past. And when you finally discover sustenance, the flames have flickered away. In the flickering glow of candlelight, you find solace in a bowl of cold stew, wrapped snugly beneath a fur that carries the essence of the creature it once belonged to. And you find yourself thankful, for at least it is sustenance. At least you have the chance to savor something other than your own lip. Feasts are fleeting. The wait for sustenance stretches on. You meticulously scrape your bowl clean driven, not by etiquette, but by the necessity of savoring every last crumb. You savor the taste on your fingertips. You gently scrape the pot, revealing the hidden treasures within. You contemplate devouring the very vessel that holds your meal. Keep in mind, it's the singular one you possess. Your form transforms. Your pace becomes more deliberate. Weight is shed. It's not a diet you see. You refer to it as still alive, and still you press on. For hunger is a reality, not merely a moment of turmoil. One might not anticipate the sensation of fullness. One can only wish to avoid sinking deeper into despair. The essence of winter. Not a clash, but a delicate dance among you, your pantry, and the dwindling meals until April. Only the fortunate or the well-connected can partake in the holiday feast. Perhaps you set aside a sausage for the festive season. Perhaps a neighbor offers a pie crafted from enigmatic ingredients and boldness. Inquiries are not part of your approach. With each bite, joy dances on your lips, yet a bittersweet pang lingers as the last morsel disappears in mere moments. Even the foods for celebration carry a sense of purpose. Craft a brew of spiced ale should your purse allow for such delightful seasonings. Nut cakes should anyone have nuts to share. Pastries brimming with dried fruits steeped in syrup and longing. They embody a sacred tradition rather than mere pleasure, serving as a gentle reminder that happiness can be found even when it's cloaked in ash and experienced alongside a dozen trembling kin. What fare graced your table during the chill of a medieval winter? Anything that wouldn't make a meal of you first. Anything you could safeguard, conceal, or simmer until it ceased its protest. You did not partake in the feast. You emerged victorious. For ultimately, hunger dons a woolen cloak. It envelops you completely. It lingers nearby. It softly murmurs to you, drawing you into its embrace. And when spring finally arrives, the first green shoot you see, you don't pause to admire it. You take a bite. Your dwelling in the Middle Ages offers no sanctuary. It is not a refuge. By contemporary measures, it hardly qualifies as a building. It resembles a wooden whisper of refuge, gently affixed to the earth beneath, bound by the fragile threads of hope-hardened earth, and the silent pact that no one dares to sneeze too forcefully. Let us begin with the very walls that surround us. Ah, the fabled Wat and Dorb, a tale of chance and fortune if the stars align in your favor. Behold the intricate tapestry of wooden strips, lovingly entwined and cloaked in a rich layer of mud straw, and the remnants of nature's bounty scattered about. Once upon a time, in a village where tales were spun like the finest silk, there lay a curious blend of cow dung hair and the whispers of gossip that danced through the air. Each element held a story waiting to be told, weaving together the lives of the villagers in a tapestry rich with intrigue and laughter. You gather everything with care, hoping it solidifies before the impending tempest arrives. Alas, it does not. On a fine day, the breeze sings through the crevices. On a day when the clouds gather and the atmosphere thickens, the wind sweeps through with a fierce determination, as if it claims dominion over the land and demands its due. Insulation is absent. Alas, the sealant is absent. There exists only the realm beyond, and a shade less beyond. Ah, the roof above you, a charming thatch that evokes a sense of nostalgia until one contemplates the reality of its construction. Dried plant matter, meticulously woven into a shape that hints at triangles. It drips incessantly. The rain begins to fall. Snow accumulates, blanketing the world in a soft white embrace. In its embrace, birds find their sanctuary. Little creatures scurry in, setting up their tiny homes and demanding their due for the space they occupy. Should fortune smile upon you, it may merely falter amidst the tempest. Should you find yourself in such a predicament, you might awaken to the peculiar sensation of your ceiling resting upon your lap, accompanied by the unexpected presence of a chicken perched upon your face. Upon the ground lies nothing but the earth itself, a simple expanse of dirt. When the ground is slick with mud, patience becomes your companion. When the ground is icy, you find yourself sliding. When the air is arid, it transforms into fine particles that infiltrate every corner, your lungs, your eyes, even your soup. You attempt to scatter straw to cushion the ground, but it only endures for about 6 hours before transforming into a flattened, moldy concoction that oddly carries the scent of feet and hopelessness. Windows. Let's not be foolish, shall we? Glass belongs to the sacred spaces and the affluent. There are gaps present. Should you be in a whimsical mood, perhaps you might drape some oiled parchment over the opening with a flourish. It welcomes the light, yet also invites every chill that sweeps through until Easter arrives. The drapes. The essence of numbercloth transcends mere indulgences such as privacy. Its worth is far too significant to squander. The doors hardly catch their latches. Hinges twisted and gnarled resemble creatures bearing scars of battle. One might fortify it with a sturdy log, or, if you're running low on logs because you've already used them to warm your space, perhaps we can wish for the wind to be in a more playful spirit. Fireplaces hold a prominent place, yet not in a manner that invites warmth. In the heart of the gathering, a fire pit crackles softly, its warm glow inviting all to share in the tales that dance with the flames. In the heart of the room, there lies a space filled with potential. There was no chimney, only a gaping hole in the roof. As the smoke ascends gently, it weaves through your abode, enveloping it in a soft gray mist that clings to your walls, settles in your lungs, and dims any flicker of hope for fresh breaths until the arrival of spring. Eventually, the scent of smoke fades into the background, becoming a distant memory. You are the whisper of the smoke. Now, gather round as we delve into the world of furniture. There isn't an abundance at your disposal. Picture a wooden bench, perhaps a humble stool, or a table, if you're embracing the finer things in life. In the warmth of home beds, become a shared sanctuary where spouses, children, and sometimes even livestock find their place weaving together the fabric of life. The mattress is a humble creation, a sack filled with straw, which may seem adequate at first glance. Yet one mustn't forget that straw has a way of losing its softness over time. It shapes, transforms, and beckons creatures of the tiny kind. Your pillow is yet another vessel. Should fortune smile upon you, it may be brimming with feathers. If you aren't, then it's merely additional straw, perhaps a tad less crunchy. Cozy layers, perhaps wool, if it's at hand, or furs, if fortune has smiled upon you with a recent find. On countless nights, you find yourself nestled in your garments, cocooned beneath the weight of all your possessions, clinging to the fragile hope that warmth and belief will weave together the thread of survival. When the flames flicker and fade into the night, you awaken to a chill that wraps around you like a ghost, pondering every choice that brought you to this moment. Warming the space presents quite the challenge. You maintain the flame, no doubt, but as warmth ascends and smoke drifts upward, you find yourself on the cold ground, leaving your toes to shiver, while the beams above enjoy a cozy steam bath. Stones encircle the half, offering their silent support. They gather warmth and let it go gradually, but only if you possess sufficient fuel to ignite their heat in the beginning. With careful hands, you fill the gaps using moss cloth or mud, weaving nature's elements into a protective embrace. It simply doesn't function. The wind weaves its path through the world. It has a way of weaving itself into existence. There are moments when it feels as if the very breath within is chillier than the world beyond, and you resolve to act, yet your fingers frozen and unyielding struggle to loosen the ties of your cloak. The illumination brings yet another layer of enchantment. Before you, tallow candles drip and sputter their scent, a pungent reminder of beef fat, while rushlight's reeds dipped in animal grease flicker, as if someone attempted to turn a salad into a weapon. The smoke dances with the remnants of itself, enveloping the room in a thick, swirling haze, reminiscent of a bygone era where every breath feels like a whisper from the past laden with the weight of medieval ailments. And let us not overlook the clamor. The delicate barriers allow every whisper to dance through the air. The wind whispers secrets. The livestock graze peacefully. Your neighbor's sneeze breaks the silence, and your stomach growls in protest as if it has a grievance to air. In a world where privacy dances like a fleeting shadow, solitude becomes a whispered secret, elusive and rare. Only if you venture into the forest and never return. Indeed, this place is home to more than just its residents. Your cottage coexists harmoniously with the creatures of the wild. In the quiet corners, the chickens find their cozy nests. Once upon a time, a goat found a cozy spot beneath the table, drifting into a peaceful slumber. In the cozy confines of your home, the cow finds her place in the lean-to snug against the wall. But when the chill of winter bites, she seeks the warmth of your company in the main room, sharing the space and the stories of the day. There exists no division between the realms of indoors and outdoors. There exists only a state of being untouched by the chill of death. The house becomes a touch cozier. It amplifies the chaos, turning it into a cacophony, and fills the air with the unmistakable scent of a barn that has seen better days. You glide the broom across the floor, yet the dust seems to dance back into place as if it has a mind of its own. The straw bedding carries a scent reminiscent of aged milk, and if a chicken chooses to lay an egg beside your head in the stillness of the night, you express gratitude and attempt to drift back into slumber before it leaves a little surprise on your blanket. Your roof serves as a sanctuary for various visitors, including birds, rats, and insects. The thatch is dense and inviting for nesting, heralding the arrival of spring, when the soft pitter-patter of tiny feet will dance above you at all hours. At times, they find themselves tumbling in. It's just part of the journey. A piercing cry escapes your lips. The rat lets out a piercing cry, and then you both weave a tale where it never occurred. Steady upkeep. The door creaks open. The rafters bend a testament to the weight they bear. The doors hang heavy, burdened by time. The wind howls, ripping the roof from its moorings. You mend what you can with the tools at hand woven from fragile hope and a blade that has lost its edge. Nails are beyond your reach. You fit pieces together seamlessly. With a rock in hand and a hopeful whisper to the universe, you bring the wood together, crafting something from nothing. When the rain pours and the roof begins to weep, One doesn't simply reach for a bucket. You seize every last bucket. You arrange them throughout the house as if you're engaged in a melancholic match of splash chess. You discover the places that reveal their secrets first. Go ahead and give them names. You cast your words like shadows upon them. You discover the art of resting in their presence. There's a glimmer of hope amidst the shadows. There are moments when the fire crackles with warmth and life. A fur is shared by someone. A sudden stillness descends, as if the air itself has paused in anticipation. You weave a narrative that it's your artistry at play. As you gather closely with your loved ones, you feign a sense of warmth in the air, allowing the scent to weave its way into your shared moment. It may not be, yet it feels oddly known. Yet you persevere, for this is more than mere wood and unpleasant odors. It's a place where the heart finds its rhythm. It's the place of your beginnings, the cradle of your children's first breaths, and a spot where life's cycle continues, perhaps marked by a recent farewell. You mend it, you tidy it, you murmur to it in the cold months, as if it were a cherished kin in need of care. Just hang in there a bit more. It's not something you would liken to a grand fortress. It's akin to avoiding the grip of a bitter winter's chill. And by that standard, it's faring quite well. In the village, a few more affluent peasants take to whitewashing the walls, brightening their humble abodes with a fresh coat of paint. Not for opulence, but for the pests. The lime vanquishes pests. A new layer each year ensures the walls remain vibrant, while the pesky intrusions are merely surface-level nuisances. You ponder the possibility of taking that step. You even gather the lime. Yet once more, the firewood dwindles to nothing. Herbs are hung with care, their fragrant essence weaving through the air, creating an inviting atmosphere. They wither away, disintegrate, and blend into your broth. Yet you indulge in them regardless. The flavor is peculiar, yet you reassure yourself it's just the seasoning at play. It certainly isn't. And from time to time, you envision a different space with a wooden floor beneath your feet and a ceiling that brings you comfort rather than unease. With each gentle gust of wind, it catches you off guard. As you weave another patch into the wall, the thought lingers in your mind, accompanied by the gentle rhythm of rain tapping through the ceiling. For ultimately, your home lacks warmth, dryness, and tranquility. Yet it remains steadfast, in the heart of a medieval winter that is as near to opulence as one might ever hope to encounter. The first light of day breaks, or perhaps it's just on the cusp of dawn. A soft glow lingers beyond perhaps the sun, making its entrance, or the moon gracefully surrendering its watch. Regardless of the circumstances, the moment has come to rise and embrace the day. Not due to your state of rest. You are not. Not due to your enthusiasm. Indeed, that is not the case. Yet your very existence hinges on accomplishing tasks swiftly, lest you succumb to frostbite famine or the relentless competition of your neighbor's goat racing to the water source. The weekend has vanished into thin air. There's no time for oneself. Time slips away like the morning mist, leaving just a fleeting moment to brush the frost from your eyebrows. Each day unfolds like a familiar tale, echoing the rhythms of the one before. Collect, repair, nourish, transport, simmer, fix, and do it all over again. Winter in medieval Europe unfolds like a tale woven from mud smoke, and the weariness of the soul. To begin the tale, we must ignite the flames. One can only wish that the embers have endured the darkness of the night. Otherwise, you find yourself once more with flint and steel bent over kindling, fingers numb from the cold, your breath hanging in the air like a specter. Wood holds great value. It is employed with great care. A flickering flame brings with it the embrace of warmth, the promise of nourishment, the glow of illumination, and the essence of existence itself. A poor tale weaves a narrative where everything gradually fades, and you mask your tears as the haze envelops you. Once the fire crackles to life, or at least sputters like a wheezing squirrel, it's time to bring in the water. The bucket weighs down my arm. The stream lies in a state of half-frozen slumber, and the path glistens with ice ready to challenge even the most daring of athletes in a most unfortunate spectacle. An ordinary soul gliding on ice. As you tumble, the world spins, and you unleash a torrent of frustration upon the icy ground, the bucket, and the relentless grip of winter's jest. And so, you find yourself doing it once more, for the water will not gather on its own. Upon returning home, you bring it to a boil, not due to a passion for health, but rather because the alternative could be fatal. With each sip, the stakes rise. Heating water serves as a means to warm your hands, create a steamy atmosphere in the hut, and postpone the sensation of medieval inadequacy for just a little while longer. Now let us turn our attention to the creatures of the wild. Before you tend to your own needs, ensure they are nourished first. The chickens are quite perturbed. The oinks and grunts of pigs fill the air with a boisterous symphony. The cow gazes upon you with a discerning eye. You gather remnants of hay bits of kitchen leftovers and anything that has managed to resist the chill of winter's grasp. You inspect the coop for eggs. Once more, they are nowhere to be found. Yet the rooster brims with thoughts and perspectives to share. When the night blankets the world in, you take it upon yourself to carve a path to the door. It's not about the neatness of it all. It's the unforgettable moment of tumbling into a snowdrift while clutching a bucket of pig slop that lingers in the mind. With a flat plank in hand, you dig your fingers swathed in tattered rags, whispering words that would surely lead to your banishment if ever overheard. With the animals tended to, and your fingers just beginning to warm, the moment has arrived for breakfast, if one could truly label it as such. Yesterday's cottage, warmed by the echoes of today's regrets. Perhaps a loaf of rustic bread. Perhaps not. If someone took the time to clean the pot last night, you're left with the remnants to scrape away. Silence reigns, and discontent remains unvoiced. Whining consumes one's vitality. Now, the moment for true endeavor has arrived. For a man, the day unfolds with tasks in the fields, the embrace of the forest, or the rhythm of the forge. For a woman, it encompasses all that lies beyond. Weaving fibers, patching garments, preparing meals, scrubbing away grime, fetching water, mixing ingredients, and miraculously nurturing 6 little ones, while feigning that your fingers aren't stiffened into rigid forms. Task of mending the roof, a duty that falls to you. gathering firewood, a task that falls to you as well. Ensuring the goat remains warm, contained, and safe from any unexpected surprises. Remain in your position. Amidst the chaos, there exists no orderly list of tasks. Instead, a relentless current of challenges flows, each demanding resolution before the sun dips below the horizon. Once a week, the laundry ritual unfolds, a journey through a realm of its own, akin to a purgatorial experience. You haul garments to the riverbank, shattering the ice, and with a blend of ash and lye, you scrub until your knuckles bleed and your spirit feels as though it's slipping away. Wash away. Hold your ground. Reiterate. In the kitchen, one embarks on a journey of creativity and embracing the unexpected. With a gentle hand, you revisit the familiar pot from yesterday's tale. You gently inspect the surface for any signs of mold and carefully pour in additional water, perhaps a sprinkle of herbs, perhaps a pebble to add some texture. It is presented steaming, and one refers to it as soup. In the gentle embrace of the afternoon, one finds purpose in mending what is broken. In a world where tools lay scattered, fences stood as silent witnesses, and relationships hung by a thread, the air crackled with tension over the simple question of who had devoured the last turnip. With a wet stone that has seen more years than your grandfather, you hone the blades, a tool steeped in history. Ironically, it was the very ladder you now climb to mend the ceiling that once bore witness to his final descent. In the realm of imagination, children lend their hands to the grand tapestry of ideas. Often, they weave through our paths, yet even the littlest ones are entrusted with responsibilities. With yarn in hand, I ward off the crows while cradling small bundles of kindling close to my heart. They toil away, driven by necessity. When the clock strikes the right hour and tasks are completed ahead of schedule, a delightful interlude of playtime unfolds, and no one ever completes their tale ahead of time. Within the confines of this space, the wheel spins in a perpetual dance. The fibers of wool await the touch of a skilled hand to weave their tale. Fabric does not create itself. Each thread, woven into every tunic, carries the weight of hands that have known toil and weariness. Gloves are a treasure. Calluses are a common companion on this journey. And if a spindle slips from your grasp and tumbles into the fire, you pause, lost in thought, contemplating the idea of stepping into the flames to retrieve it. As the day wanes, a gentle twilight begins to envelop the world. The sun makes a timid appearance in the depths of winter. The shadows reach out, elongated and mysterious. With urgency in your steps, you strive to complete the day's endeavors before the sun dips below the horizon. With hands that mold the earth, you seal the cracks of walls with mud, reattach door hinges with care, and mend a leaky roof using only straw, a rock, and an unyielding spirit of hope. As the evening approaches, you ready yourself for the night ahead, gently stirring the stew, coaxing the flames of the fire to dance, and carefully scraping away the frost that has settled inside your water bucket. You don a thicker layer of garments, each piece mirroring the last, yet now imbued with an added weight of melancholy. As the evening unfolds, the meal makes its entrance, a humble offering of stew, a loaf of bread, and a shared mug of ale. Its strength diluted, or perhaps water boiled thrice to tame its perilous nature. You find yourself positioned by the midpoint, maintaining a respectful distance. Embers flicker in the distance, a chill in the air, biting at the skin. You consume your meals with great speed. The warmth dissipates swiftly. In the aftermath, the journey continues without pause. In the quiet hours, you weave the delicate strands, repairing the worn fabric of life, tending to the frayed edges, and clearing away the remnants of yesterday's toil. Little ones nestle close to the warmth of the fire, a delightful jumble of limbs and soft snores filling the air. Grown-ups linger in the night, not for the sake of enjoyment, but to ensure the flames are nurtured and the wood for tomorrow is gathered. In the fortunate moments, a melody emerges. A gentle voice weaves through the air, harmonizing with the rhythmic motion of spinning or shelling peas. It may lack joy, yet it offers solace. A gentle nudge that life continues to unfold beyond the toil, if only by a thread. As darkness descends, the world transforms. You settled into the familiar embrace of your clothes beneath the well-worn, damp blanket, resting on the straw mattress that had cradled you countless times before. The wind whispers through the rattling shutters, weaving tales of the night. In the stillness of the night, a soft sound escapes the slumbering goat, a gentle release that adds a touch of whimsy to the tranquil scene. One can only wish for the roof to endure. One can only wish for a tomorrow that brings warmth, or at the very least, a reprieve from the chill. You drift into slumber, not from tranquility, but because weariness is the sole serenade you can embrace. Indeed, this is merely a single day in the grand tapestry of time. Once more, the cycle begins anew. Each task echoes in a familiar rhythm. Each moment resonates with a deep ache. In the grand tapestry of life, one might find that the pursuit of catching up is but an illusion. Instead, it often feels like a dance where one merely learns to fall behind at a gentler pace. Holidays come infrequently and can often deceive us. On a day of respite, one might find themselves venturing to church, braving the chill of the air. Enduring the passage of time as a priest weaves tales of how suffering enriches the spirit. Upon your return home, you find yourself diving into the chores that awaited you. Those tasks left behind in the wake of your profound journey of spiritual enrichment. The cadence of winter existence unfolds in a tapestry of sameness, yet with a weighty significance beneath its surface. Chores aren't merely tasks to check off a list. They don't define your sense of accomplishment. One engages in these actions, for to refrain would mean that someone goes hungry, remains cold, and struggles to survive the harshness of February. The room for misstep is minuscule. A tattered cloak, a misplaced hat, a shattered tool, each one a whisper of calamity waiting to unfold. Each task, regardless of its size, resonates with a subtle yet compelling urgency. And yet, you press on, driven by an undeniable force within you. For it is you alone who must carry the water repair, the wool nourish the goat, and simmer that gray, somewhat dubious stew. This is the tale of your existence. Here lies your winter tale. And so, the task continues an endless cycle. At times, one finds themselves pondering the essence of true repose. Embrace the essence of rest. To find a moment of stillness, to inhale deeply, to release the weight of endless tasks that loom from sunrise to sunset. Yet rest remains a rare treasure. To thrive is to keep moving. As you rearrange the logs, smooth the wool, soothe the little one, and share a knowing glance with your partner by the fire. As the sun sets on yet another day, we find ourselves poised on the brink of a familiar journey, ready to embrace the next chapter that awaits. The journey continues, and so do you. Even in the realm of dreams, your body whispers tales of ache and remembrance. The blisters linger, the burns ache, the bruises remain unyielding. They seamlessly weave into the fabric of your being, like the lingering scent of smoke in your garments, like the delicate frost adorning the windowsill, like the existence you never selected yet embrace, all the same. In the Middle Ages, illness was not a matter of choice. One fateful morning, you awaken to find that your nose has decided to embark on an endless journey of its own, refusing to cease its relentless flow. Your throat is raw, as if you've swallowed a handful of sharp pine cones, while an unseen force seems to be swelling your joints from within. Well done. You find yourself in a battle against an unnamed foe, one that offers no remedy and possesses a demeanor far from courteous. Uncertainty lingers in the air as you ponder whether it's merely a cold, the flu, or perhaps something as ominous as medieval tuberculosis. Yet whatever it may be, it has claimed you as its own. Falling ill during the winter months feels like an inevitable chapter in the tale of life. In the heart of the woods, a humble hut stands its walls heavy with moisture, whispering tales of the rain that has kissed its surface. The chill in the air wraps around you like a whispered secret, a reminder of the season's embrace. As the night deepened, the fire's warm glow flickered and finally succumbed to the darkness. Since October, you've been inhaling the smoke, the essence of goat dander, and the whispers of spores from the moss that clings to the wall. Though the mysteries of germs remain unsolved, your body possesses an ancient wisdom that understands them well, and at this moment, it's having quite the fit over it. All beings emit a cough. All beings experience the sudden release of air and sound that is a sneeze. No one conceals their laughter, for tissues are nowhere to be found. The personal hygiene, a tale whispered in the shadows, a mere myth that dances on the lips of those who dare to speak of it. Once upon a time, a group of children found themselves under the weather. The elderly are unwell. It seems the livestock may be unwell. You're clinging to life, sipping on boiled nettle tea, praying that the scent doesn't do you in first. The solutions. You're in for a delightful experience with them. There's a flow of crimson naturally. That's the remedy for all, whether it's the ache of a headache or the sorrow of a heartbreak. A figure appears wielding a blunt blade, or perhaps a congenial leech from the block, convinced that the remedy for your fever lies in a reduction of your lifeblood. Is it effective? Not in the slightest. Does it bring you a sense of relief that allows you to momentarily set aside your symptoms? Indeed, that is the case. Next, we have the herbal tea, a blend of whatever dried herbs the village healer gathered before the snow blanketed the land. Yarrow wormwood nettle, perhaps a handful of mysterious moss, and a hearty dash of folklore. In a cracked clay pot, you bring it to a simmer, letting the steam rise as you strain it through your sleeve. With each slow sip, you wrestle with the taste that lingers like bitter mud and the sting of betrayal, a reminder of the journey that brought you here. Naturally, One might suggest fasting, as if depriving a body battling infection of nourishment is the wisest course of action. The quest for bread has become a challenging endeavor. The pottage has transformed into a murky, gray sludge. Fasting for spiritual purification is merely a clever way of saying we're rationing when the pantry resembles a place of eerie shadows. Another remedy involves inhaling steam from the very pot where your soup has just been simmering. A prayer, one that unfolds with depth and richness, the more elaborate, the more profound. In the most dire of circumstances, one might resort to placing hot coals against the skin, a method intended to extract the poison, though its effectiveness is precisely as dubious as it appears. The arrival of medical assistance in all its forms hinges solely on who reaches the scene first. Should you seek the village healer, you may receive a concoction of pus and a selection of herbs. If it's the priest, anticipate prayers, holy water, and a soft nudge, suggesting that perhaps you've invited this upon yourself by missing Mass. And if it happens to be the barber surgeon, then it's time to put pen to paper for your will. The barber surgeon makes his entrance carrying a sack of instruments that have long been neglected by the cleansing touch of soap since the last plague swept through. He radiates a joyful sense of hope. Not quite as much. He gazes at your swollen leg, murmuring something about humors before producing a saw and a tankard of ale. Let's not be foolish. You'll gnash your teeth on a branch and howl into the abyss just like all the others. At times, they may recommend a cleansing, whether it be from above or below, based on which end is more troubled by your ailment. In the realm of natural remedies, one might encounter laxatives crafted from the essence of boiled bark or the remnants of dried beetles. Emetics emerge from the depths of wine and sorrow. You've transcended mere illness. You find yourself engulfed in a tempest of illness, severely unwell, a sickness that makes you ponder the very essence of your will to live. Yet there are those who find their way back to health. Days stretch on as you lie in your straw bed, drenched in sweat, wrapped in wool, caught in a relentless cycle of shivering and vivid hallucinations. The flames flicker gently, casting soft shadows in the dim light. In the shadows of the hut, darkness envelops everything. The scent in the air is a curious blend of damp wool and the remnants of that herbal concoction you dared to sip earlier. And in some way, you find a way to persevere. Yet not all are blessed in the same way. In a confined space, shrouded in smoke and filled with livestock, illness weaves its way through the air, spreading swiftly and silently with no escape in sight. A cough escapes your lips. Once upon a time, a little one let out a cough. The sound of your neighbor's cough echoes through the wall. In just a matter of days, the village finds itself enveloped in a haze of sniffles and wheezes, with many laid low beneath damp blankets, receiving a curious mix of onion water and solemn farewells. In the absence of answers, speculation runs wild among the curious minds. Perhaps it's the air that carries a heaviness. Perhaps it's a haunting fate. Perhaps old Maud cast a peculiar glance at someone during last week's service, and now the entire street is plagued by a dreadful cough, as if a dark omen has befallen them. In a world where belief intertwines with urgency, one finds themselves draping herbs across doorways, igniting dried sage, and tucking iron beneath the bed, all in a fervent quest to keep malevolent spirits at bay. It simply doesn't function. Yet it carries a fragrance far more pleasant than that of the goat. The most challenging aspect is the relentless grind that never seems to cease. Though illness may weigh you down, the firewood awaits its fate, calling for your strength to wield the axe once more. The cow awaits her turn to share her bounty of milk. Even in the midst of chaos, the little ones still anticipate the evening feast, whether it be a humble bowl filled with the warmth of hope and the wildness of nettles. Rest is a privilege granted only to the lifeless. As you rise from the depths of slumber, you envelop yourself in a cocoon of wool, shuffling through the snow like a weary specter, grumbling at the chill that bites at your skin. And throughout it all, the shadow of uncertainty hangs, suggesting that this may evolve into something far more than just a cult. Thus begins a journey into shadows yet untold. Typhoid pneumonia, the silent intruders that creep in without a word. It gently envelops you under the cover of darkness. That is the true dread. It is not the ache that lingers, but the stillness that comes after. Should the ailment intensify, the indications will be unmistakable. The fever rises dramatically. Your breath trembles with a haunting echo. You cease to rise from your slumber. A gentle cloth is draped across your forehead, a feigned gesture of comfort in the midst of uncertainty. And so the priest is called forth. Neither the healer nor the barber, only the figure in flowing garments who proclaims it's time to ready your spirit. The truth spills forth in an instant. You whisper each transgression that comes to mind, even those you may not have truly done, just to ensure you leave no stone unturned. The priest inclines his head with a grave expression, casting holy water upon you. Its scent a haunting blend of mildew and despair. He utters phrases in the ancient tongue of Latin. They may elude your comprehension, yet their resonance feels irrevocable. Assembled together, your family comes together. Though unspoken, the preparations are underway. In a gentle embrace, the pot of herbs simmers, releasing whispers of flavor into the air. The bread has been preserved. A blanket is snugly wrapped, embracing warmth and comfort. In a fleeting instant, your gaze meets that of your partner, and an unspoken uncertainty hangs in the air. Neither of you knows who will emerge from the trials of this winter. Yet in moments of grace, the fever finally subsides. As dawn breaks, you find yourself stirring from slumber, the embers of the fire still aglow, casting a warm light in the quiet of the morning. Your breath flows freely. Let your fingers dance. The air hangs heavy with a lingering scent, a ghostly reminder of something once alive, now faded into the shadows. Yet there's a comforting warmth that envelops us. You've just scraped by, and now the winding journey towards restoration begins. Recovery, though, lacks the allure one might expect. Your legs tremble with uncertainty. A dull ache lingers in your back. Days have passed without the comfort of solid food gracing your lips. And even if you possessed some, your stomach remains unconvinced that it desires it. In a moment of haste, you rise abruptly, teetering on the brink of consciousness, almost succumbing to the fiery embrace before you. Your inaugural journey, beyond familiar borders, resembles traversing a frigid wasteland, each step weighed down by the heaviness of unmet expectations. A celebration goes unthrown. Simply continue from the last moment you paused. There are tales to weave of kindling, to split cloaks to mend, and a curious, bloated pig that beckons for exploration. If your voice still trembles from the infection, that's just the way it is. Should you find yourself shedding a few pounds, consider this a bright side. Your shoes will bear less weight and strain. Surviving this chapter doesn't signal the end of your journey. Illness lingers in the shadows, never truly departing. It lingers in the shadows, in the breeze, within the communal cup, or the neglected fabric. In a realm where well-being flits by, like a fleeting shadow, never truly settling in to call it home. Yet you forge ahead, for there lies no alternative. Your cough diminishes. A sigh of relief escapes your lips. Gone are the days when peculiar forms danced in the shadows of the room. The hue of life blooms back into your cheeks, accompanied by the heavy burden of all that remains to be accomplished. For in the days of yore, sickness was a gift bestowed without charge. Yet the essence of survival, that's something beyond the ordinary. One does not boast about having endured. It remains unspoken between us. As dawn breaks, you rise from your slumber, donning your well-worn patch tunic, and set forth once more to gather water. The rhythm of your day beginning anew. In this realm, the mere act of surviving stands as the ultimate testament to your strength. In a winter such as this, even that feels like a little miracle unfolding before our eyes. Indeed, in medieval Europe, authority was an undeniable force, shaping lives and destinies. It was an undeniable truth of existence, akin to the squelch of mud beneath one's feet, the bite of the cold air, and that peculiar neighbor whose scent lingered like pickled turnips in the breeze. In the heart of winter's chill, when hunger gnawed at the edges of patience and tempers frayed like old fabric, obedience became not merely a suggestion, but a decree that echoed through the frost-bitten air. Silence is your response. There are no grievances to voice. One does not inquire about the reasons unless one relishes the flavor of public retribution and the sting of splinters. From the noble lord of the manor to the humble local priest, each figure in the hierarchy anticipates your swift obedience. And they carry a belt, a staff, or a scripture poised to remind you of the tales that shape our understanding. Begin with the manor lord. The land is his to claim. In a sense, it's not even a rental. You merely exist there, like an unwelcome guest lingering in the shadows. You toil in his fields, fulfill your obligations, and lower your head as he passes by, even when your body aches from the strain. When he commands you to leap, you inquire about the height, then take flight, regardless, just to ensure he wasn't speaking in metaphors. Decline. How delightful. Imagine the hilarity when he discovers you seizes your grain or locks you away in the stocks while a snowstorm rages outside. Ah, the stocks truly. The most uninviting of winter's seating options, wouldn't you agree? Wooden planks embrace your arms and neck. A stark reminder of the choices that led you here. As your neighbors stroll by casting glances filled with a mix of curiosity and judgment. The chill in the air wraps around like a whisper, a reminder of the season's embrace. It's a deeply unsettling experience. And if the spirit of celebration is in the air, one might just toss something into the mix. Sweet turnips, when they shine, rough rocks when they don't. Silence envelops you. That could lead you to another chance. Yet the Lord's were not your sole concern. The church loomed with an intensity that was both formidable and perhaps even more chilling. While divine mercy may be boundless, the local priest's judgment is far more stringent. He observes it all the ones who skip Mass, those laboring on sacred days, and the whispers of envy for another's goat that linger in the shadows. And he maintains a chronicle not solely for spiritual reasons, but also for influence. One ill-timed remark, and before you know it, you're branded a heretic or a sorcerer, or even worse, for neglecting your offerings. When it comes to tithes, they are a necessity, not a choice. You share a portion of all that you create, even if it means leaving yourself with less than you need. Seeds, foul nourishment your pride. The congregation claims its portion, and if you stumble, there won't be a gentle nudge to remind you. Before an audience, a powerful message unfolds, accompanied by significant steps and lasting repercussions. The preacher's strength lies not in brawn, but in the echoes of the past. He recalls those who bypassed prayers, those who murmured during Mass, and those who had the audacity to wonder why Lent requires consuming boiled weeds for 6 weeks. In the chill of winter, when the air is thick with grumbles and coughs, it takes but a whisper to find yourself caught in the crosshairs of the pulpit's ire. Then there's the code, or whatever semblance of it exists. The constable, in many ways, is merely a farmer, wielding a stick, embodying a nebulous sense of power that hangs in the air like a whisper of authority. Rules often serve not as a means of delivering justice, but rather as a way to maintain order among the masses. Take a loaf, pay the price. Utter a playful remark to a noble, and you might just find yourself silenced. Whisper too much, and you might find yourself adorned in a gown of reprimand, a charming little iron mask, complete with a mouthpiece that encourages you to ponder deeply before uttering a third word. Even the most intimate affairs weave into the fabric of the public realm. When your child acts out, the finger of blame is pointed at you. When your partner lets loose with harsh words, the weight of those words is felt by you both. Discipline thrives when nurtured by the collective spirit of a community. The whipping post stands indifferent to the origin of the idea, awaiting the inevitable moment when someone will feel its sting. And don't try to outsmart the situation. In this realm, the presence of intelligence raises eyebrows. Reading is a sacred pursuit. Curiosity often leads to mischief. Inquire too much, and you may find yourself branded a sorcerer facing the grim fate of a complimentary drowning or a fiery end. For women, the expectations are even more rigid. First, you heed your father's guidance. Then you follow your husband's lead. And finally, you listen to your son's wishes. With a gentle voice, you labor tirelessly, ensuring that no one has cause to murmur your name in suspicion. For once, that word escapes into the world, all your efforts may be overshadowed. Restoring someone through the wisdom of herbs, engaging in conversation, and adding a touch of warmth. And let us not overlook the companions of your village. They play a crucial role in the unfolding narrative. They weave into the fabric of the system. That neighbor who flashed you a grin at the market could very well be the one to tell on you for toiling away on a saint's feast day. That cousin who takes your firewood may also drop a hint about the unholy whispers that escaped your lips in the night. Observation transcends the digital realm. It's profoundly curious and inherently human. It's a realm of dominance. In a world where every gaze is a watchful one, safety becomes a fleeting illusion, slipping through the fingers of those who dare to believe they are unseen. The chill intensifies the unease that lurks in the shadows. Endless nights give rise to even deeper resentments. In the quiet corners of life, a minor offense, a borrowed tool, an unfair exchange, a vanished hen can spiral into a whirlwind of blame retribution and the weight of public disgrace. And there exists no avenue for appeal. The nearest semblance of justice lies in the fragile hope that your Lord is feeling benevolent and that your priest has avoided any missteps on the altar steps that day. Even humor can carry its own risks. Utter an ill-timed phrase in an inappropriate manner in the presence of an unyielding audience, and in an instant, your wit is deemed a sign of rebellion. Joyful mirth finds its place in the light of the Lord's jest, the wisdom shared in the priest's sermon, or the spectacle of one facing their due in the stocks. All else raises eyebrows. Winter casts a shadow over all, amplifying the chill and gloom that envelops the world. In these times, the chill of hunger bites deeper, and the shadows of bitterness loom larger. Consequences weigh heavier when your skin is already worn and your spirit is already frayed. A sudden slap in the summer sun can feel like a bothersome interruption. In the heart of winter, a sharp chill lingers, a biting sensation that clings on for days. In the absence of soothing balms, one must embrace the chill of snow and the quietude of solitude to mend their wounds. In this quiet hamlet, the voices of the people remain unheard, for there is no gathering to air their concerns. There exists a hierarchy of commands and a willingness to comply from below. And should you dare to resist to voice your thoughts, to champion equity, or to ponder the reason behind Father Thomas receiving additional provisions, each Friday you may find yourself inviting a consequence that could linger long after your value to the village has faded. Even creatures of the wild find themselves favored when they bring forth value. A robust ox holds greater worth than a wounded peasant. Before you are nourished, the goat that provides milk is tended to first. Your value is determined by what you produce and how well you follow, rather than by your thoughts or feelings. Remain where you belong. Hush now. Let the silence envelop us. Remain valuable. That's the silent creed, and winter merely emphasizes it with a delicate touch of frost. And yet, individuals find a way to adjust. They master the art of bowing gracefully, maintaining their poise without yielding too much. They have perfected the delicate craft of graceful quietude. They utter agreement with their words, yet their gaze speaks a different tale, one of reluctance and hesitation. Obedience transforms into a craft, a blend of instinctual survival and a dance of social grace. Young minds begin to absorb knowledge from a tender age. They learn not only the ways of labor, but also the art of demeanor, the nuances of conversing with the divine, the subtleties of evading the priest's watchful eye, and the discipline of remaining composed during Mass, even when the gentle snores of old Margaret echo through the homily. They are not guided to envision grand aspirations. You guide them to remain subtle, unseen, and whole. Even faith that promised solace in a world so unforgiving becomes a tether. Each week, and at times each day, you receive a gentle nudge that following the path of obedience leads to salvation. That inquiry leads to a dark path. There is a presence that observes all. And as fate would have it, Father Thomas shares this peculiar interest, appearing rather overly concerned with the depth of your kneeling during prayer. As darkness falls, the village embraces a serene stillness. Not tranquil, merely hushed, the sort of hush that weighs down like a thick fog. The fire crackles softly. The wind whispers its secrets. And now and then, you hear the weary footsteps of a soul making their way home from the tavern. You lie motionless, cocooned in wool and trepidation, reflecting on how your compliance has preserved your life this day. Neither content nor liberated, yet still breathing. When the sun rises, you will find yourself following the familiar path once more. Not out of faith in the system, but rather because your very existence hinges on it. The cost of winter is surrender, and all must contribute whether they intend to or not. The cold is an unspoken truth, a presence that demands no inquiry. The rules stand unchallenged. With a determined spirit, you lace up your boots, lower your gaze, and forge ahead. In the depths of a medieval winter, to question authority is not an act of rebellion. It's a tragic fate. Your thoughts, too, are woven from threads beyond your own making. You craft them with precision, hold them in silence, and conceal them deep within your gaze. In a realm where compliance reigns supreme, the very act of independent thought emerges as a perilous indulgence. Thus you comply, you persevere, and you bide your time for the arrival of spring. In the chill of winter, even the spirit of defiance is stilled, and survival alone is a heavy burden without the weight of dissent. With a gentle bow of your head, you hush your voice, blending into the crowd as if following an unspoken script. In this vast expanse, you are accompanied by unseen companions. And that's not intended to bring any solace. The gentle words spoken when extending an embrace. It's the kind that lingers in the shadows murmured by your inner thoughts, when the wind howls through the trees and the door creaks ever so slightly. In the chill of a medieval winter, you find yourself amidst creatures eager for your sustenance, your warmth, and at times, your very visage. The presence of wolves looms large in our thoughts. As December unfolds, hunger gnaws at their bellies. As January arrives, they embrace their audacity. They linger at the forest's fringes, drawing near with the chill of autumn's breath. The scent of your chimney smoke dances in the air, drawing my nose upward. The aroma of meat wafts through the air. They can sense the essence of fear in the air. They catch your scent as you tread the path alone, perhaps in search of firewood or to tend to the slot bucket. Unseen eyes linger upon you. At times, they trail behind. They seldom strike without warning, yet tales of their deeds have reached your ears. All possess this. Whispers linger, that they bide their time watching for that moment, when your light flickers and fades, when your foot finds the treacherous snowdrift, and you tumble forward into the quiet embrace of the world. And just like that, it comes to a swift conclusion, or perhaps not swift in the slightest. Yet the wolves are not the sole observers in this tale. There exist diminutive hunters, stealthy and cunning, often lurking within the shadows already nestled inside. Rats remain unfazed by the chill in the air. They've settled in comfortably, hidden away among the sacks of barley, darting beneath your straw beds, feasting on anything that resembles food, and even a few things that defy the notion of edibility. In the stillness of the night, you can hear the gnawing and the skittering, punctuated by the occasional scream of someone who has stumbled upon a rat's nest hidden within the laundry pile. They feast upon grain, indulge in soap, and savor leather. They gnaw at your shoes, your belts, the very bindings of the sole book in the entire town. Whatever can be chewed shall be chewed. And when provisions dwindle, reaching a critical point, the creatures of the night transform into something far beyond mere nuisances. They transform into a challenge of what you're prepared to sacrifice for the sake of a meal. Having cats by your side brings a special kind of comfort. Yet, in the chill of winter, a skilled mouser holds a value that rivals that of a child, and they are fully aware of their worth. They reign over the cottage like diminutive sovereigns, insisting on warmth and reverence in return for their efforts in reducing the vermin population. If the desire to hunt eludes them, then so be it. The rats return to their nocturnal feast, and you awaken to find something has lost a corner. And so we come to the dogs. Not all of them are welcoming. Some are wanderers of the village wild spirits, with tattered ears and ribs that peek through their unkempt fur. Many were left behind when sustenance grew scarce. Now, they wander in free-spirited groups, exploring doorways, pursuing chickens with playful abandon, and sometimes catching an unsuspecting soul who lingers too long at the gate. In a world where trust is a fragile thread, you find yourself in a dance of doubt, each step echoing the uncertainty that lingers between you. They howl at phantoms, and occasionally at the void itself. Yet when the hunger pangs grow fierce, the barking transforms into a more primal act of biting. Deep within the woods, whispers of lynxes have reached your ears. Uncommon, yet not beyond the realm of possibility. A fleeting shadow of fur and claws vanishing before you can grasp its reality. They tend to steer clear of others, primarily. Yet if one were to appear in the village, it would hardly raise an eyebrow, simply a twist of fate. The bulls fall short. Large, fierce, and lacking in wit, they don't stalk you in the shadows, they come at you with fierce determination, particularly when they find themselves in a tight spot or in dire straits. Legends abound of men who have faced the ferocity of wild boar tusks, some losing limbs, others their very lives. During the harshest of times, there are those who venture out seeking to capture them for sustenance. At times, they return bearing the evening's feast. At times, they vanish without a trace. And just when you believe the world beyond is perilous, keep in mind that the realm within offers little refuge. The chill compels more than just rodents to seek shelter within. In the quiet corners of the world where shadows dance and whispers linger, creatures of all kinds emerge: spiders weaving their intricate tails, beetles marching with purpose, centipedes scuttling in search of refuge. They seek the embrace of warmth, their tiny bodies crunching softly underfoot, a reminder of the life that thrives in the unseen. As the first light of dawn breaks, you tread softly upon them, your bare feet meeting the cool ground stifling a cry that threatens to escape. You gather them into the hearth, where they dance and crackle with a fiery embrace. Then return to your pot, stirring the soup, as if the world around you had not shifted at all. When the time comes to prepare for the cold months ahead, you treat your dried meat, apples, cheese, and salted fish as if they were precious gems, safeguarding them with care and reverence, not out of greed, but due to the fierce rivalry with all that shares the air. The mice press on without mercy. The mold advances with a relentless speed, outpacing your frantic attempts to scrape it away. And the family dog, if you have one, gazes at the laundry door, as if it holds the secrets of 1,000 tales. In some households, food is suspended from the rafters, a clever tactic to safeguard their provisions. Yet this strategy holds until an unexpected intruder scales the walls and makes off with their bounty. In the midst of your day, you stumble upon remnants of a feast, half-eaten sausages strewn across the floor, tiny bite marks marring your once pristine bread. And to top it all off, unwelcome droppings nestled in the flour bin. You erase their existence, seal the container, and feign its functionality. For waste is a form of indulgence, and it's something you simply cannot afford. Even the birds take on a peculiar charm when the chill sets in. Dark silhouettes glide through the sky, settling on rooftops, their keen eyes observing from the edges of fence posts, quietly poised anticipation hanging in the air. You convince yourself it's just a matter of chance, yet when you spot 3 of them perched on the same beam above your front door, a flicker of curiosity ignites within you. Do they hold secrets beyond your understanding? The chill of winter brings clarity to all things. The echoes of sound travel far and wide. The sound of footsteps in the snow resonates with a haunting clarity. When you catch a sound from beyond the crack of twigs, deep growls, or the steady crunch of footsteps, drawing near, your heart remains calm. It freezes in place, for there are moments when it is not merely a creature lurking in the shadows. At times, it's an individual driven by an insatiable hunger, fierce and relentless in their pursuit. Even in the quietest of times, the bandits remain ever vigilant, their schemes unfurling like shadows in the night. They feel the chill deeper. Their hunger gnaws at them more fiercely, and their recklessness knows no bounds. Should they believe your family possesses food, they may attempt to open the door or force their way in. That is why you rest, with one eye open, a blade at your side, dull and rusted, yet still capable of offering a glimmer of hope in the face of danger. One hopes that the moment never arrives when it must be called upon. Thus, each sound transforms into an inquiry. Each whisper of the wind, every creak of the roof, every gentle thud against the wall. Is it merely the chill of winter creeping in, or is there something lurking, seeking entry? As the chill of winter settles in, you begin to unravel its secrets, immersing yourself in the whispers of the season. The gentle descent of snow, disturbed by an unseen presence, carries with it a hush that suggests a watchful gaze. Your ears are attuned to the nuances of every tale. Your perspective is unique. As the days pass, you find yourself measuring your sustenance in the passage of time rather than in mere weight. Your hands find refuge beneath your arms in moments of stillness, not for warmth, but as a shield against the relentless chill of frostbite, a reminder that vigilance is your only ally and surrender is never an option. For predators, there is no need for a polite entrance. They arrive quietly, without a word of introduction. They come forth fangs, glinting talons poised as frigid as the very air around them. In the chill of winter, the church may share tales of divine watchfulness, reminding us that we are never alone. Yet the divine presence does not keep watch over your chicken coop. He lets the rats linger in the shadows of the cellar, and he glides silently through the snow, leaving no trace just beyond your door. And thus, you turn the key, ensuring every lock is secure. With a careful twist, you secure the rope in a double knot. The flames flicker softly, casting shadows around you, while the knife rests within easy grasp, a silent companion in the quiet night. And when you drift into slumber, it's the kind that stirs at the faintest whisper. In a state of pause, yet poised for action. For winter is not merely a season of chill. It breathes with a vibrant spirit. It craves sustenance, and it lingers in anticipation. As dawn breaks, you seek out the signs left behind, not driven by mere curiosity, but compelled by necessity. A solitary trail of paw prints gracing your garden, whispers of a visitor's presence. Perhaps merely wandering by, perhaps on a quest of discovery. At times, it's the sly foxes sneaking about the chicken coop. At times, the situation can feel even more dire. As you clear the snow from the path, it's not merely for safe passage. It's an act of concealment, a way to diminish the allure of your home to any unseen eyes lurking in the shadows of the trees. There are those who choose to suspend charms above their doorways. Fragments of bone, intricately carved wood, and delicate sprigs of dried herbs. Guardianship they whisper against beasts, against phantoms, against fortune's fickle twist. Whether their effectiveness is certain remains a mystery, yet none have the courage to take them away. In the realm of slumber, your dreams take on an unusual twist. Fangs, glinting, piercing gazes, the sound of weighty strides echoing. Awakening in a haze, your breath dances in the chill of the air, and lend an ear just in case. For in the medieval realm, winter is not merely a trial of strength. It is a profound challenge to one's very sanity. It unravels your nerves, disturbs your sleep, and shakes your sense of security. Each shadowy night beckons with a challenge. Each howl echoes a memory. In this realm, you find yourself far from the pinnacle of the food chain. In the vast expanse of the wilderness, you find yourself as yet another being, navigating the harsh embrace of the chill, seeking warmth and safety amidst the unforgiving elements. And thus, you continue your journey, awake and alert, yet the doors remain firmly closed. In the heart of a medieval winter, the struggle for warmth is but a fraction of the true challenge that lies ahead. The remainder is ensuring that you remain untouched until the arrival of spring. And when hunger strikes with a fierce intensity, it pays no mind to your prayers, preparations, or clever hiding places. It shall simply arrive. Prepare yourself, for in a realm such as this, even the flames of rebellion can turn to ice. When your provisions have vanished, your toes feel the chill, and the roof above you drips more than it shields. Only a single path remains to explore. The divine presence, or rather the medieval institution, which, depending on the whims of the day, can be your beacon of hope or yet another voice clamoring for your attention. In the Middle Ages, faith was woven into the very fabric of daily life, leaving no room for choice. It was the very essence of life itself. It permeated each hour, every space, and lingered in every thought. In the depths of winter, when the chill of death lingered nearby, uninvited plagues had a way of making their presence known. You embraced the essence of the divine. Your life unfolded with the belief that he was observing and that his feelings were far from positive. The church provided more than mere solace. It presented a framework, a strict one, indeed. You ventured to Mass undeterred by the chill that gripped the church, even colder than the world beyond its walls. You abstained from food at the call of duty. You revealed thoughts that left you questioning their morality. And if you chose not to, the repercussions extended far beyond the realm of the spirit. They thrived in the company of others. Whispers filled the air, eyes darted, and each soul feared becoming the catalyst for a failed harvest or a rampant fever. The church building stood a fortress of stone, yet offered no sanctuary. Rugged stone walls embraced the space, while the earth beneath your feet whispered tales of the past. A chilling draft danced through the air, seeking out the vulnerable spine with a ghostly touch. In the chill of the gathering, you would draw close to your neighbors, stifling the tremors that threatened to betray your resolve. Meanwhile, the priest, adorned in his flowing robes and cloaked in an air of solemnity, recited the ancient Latin, a language that danced just beyond your comprehension. Yet you nodded all the same, for it transcended mere understanding. It was a tale woven around the theme of obedience. The service continued undeterred by the elements. When the river lay still beneath a blanket of ice, you ventured across its surface. When your little one had a cough that echoed like the very essence of mischief had settled in their chest, you bundled them up and took them with you on your journey. The absence of Mass was met with disapproval. It was observed by the priest, by your neighbors, and by that one old woman who never seemed to blink and always occupied the front pew. And let us not overlook the practice of tithing. A tenth of all that you possessed, or were destined to possess, found its way to the church. Not a mere fraction of your abundance. A tenth of all that is. It was of no consequence if your family survived on turnip broth and stringy boiled oats. The Lord still required his share. It seems that even paradise comes with its own set of costs. In the heart of winter, faith transcended mere ritual. It was a performance of endurance. Individuals sought divine intervention for every aspect of their lives. Amidst the chill of winter, there lies a cozy haven filled with nourishment and well-being, where the true test of patience unfolds as the days stretch on and the bonds of family are both cherished and challenged. For every challenge that arose, there existed a guiding light. A cow in distress, Saint Eligius, chilled digits. It seems that Saint Polycarp may have misplaced your axe in the depths of the river. Saint Anthony, in the depths of January, found himself grappling with the very essence of survival. Saint Demner, the guardian of those teetering on the edge of chaos. And then came the relics, bones, teeth, splinters of supposed crosses, handkerchiefs that had once brushed against the sacred. These treasures were carefully nestled within glass cases, silver boxes, or any creation that could emerge from the transformation of melted spoons. Through the thick blanket of snow and slush, weary souls would journey for miles, driven by the hope of catching a fleeting glimpse, bestowing a gentle kiss, and murmuring a heartfelt prayer. Not due to a complete grasp of the theology, but rather because they found themselves with no alternatives. In the realm of possibility, miracles have always danced on the edge of reality. There lies the possibility of your healing. There is hope for your little one to heal. Your pig may cease to froth at the mouth. And if none of that came to pass, well, maybe it was your own doing for not holding on to your faith tightly enough, or for that hidden transgression you were trying to ignore, thinking it didn't matter, just because it unfolded in the shadows. Confession unfolded like a winter ritual steeped in its own unique tradition. In a dimly lit wooden booth, you would find yourself kneeling, your knees chilled against the hard surface. With a voice barely above a whisper, you would confess your sins to a man who deep down already knew the secrets you were about to unveil. The priest stood resolute, unwavering in the face of it all. He had encountered far more troubling tales. Throughout the ages, there have been tales woven with threads of betrayal, greed, and jealousy. Ah, the fateful moment when you unwittingly indulged in bacon on a day meant for restraint. You shared your truth, sought your redemption, and stepped away from the confessional feeling. A fleeting sense of relief until the weight of remorse returned just moments later. And then arrived the season of fasting, the time of Advent, the solemnity of Lent, the celebration of saint days, where meat was absent, eggs were forsaken, and at times even dairy was set aside amidst the chill of winter. When the days stretched on without the savory taste of meat gracing your palate for a month, and the last egg, a promise of nourishment, succumbed to the cold, freezing solid before you could even crack its shell. You would gather close to your meager pot of stew, crafted from the remnants that had yet to succumb to decay, and deem it a sacred offering. Yet you found yourself hesitant to challenge it. The church was omnipresent. It possessed a piece of land. It held the reins of time itself. It gathered contributions. It revealed to you with clarity that every trial you faced in this life would hold meaning if you adhered to the guidelines set before you. And if you didn't, a blaze of eternity awaits not a mere figure of speech, but a real searing inferno, a cacophony of endless screams in the flames. That was the fate that awaited you should you falter. The weather unfolded like a tale, a tempest rising, a divine caution, followed by gentle days, a sign of grace, and ultimately a harvest halted by frost. A transgression has occurred. Who is it that beckons from the shadows waiting to unveil their tale? Vague, yet there is a presence. This transformed villages into intense arenas of moral scrutiny. In a world where eyes lingered on familiar faces, the quiet observation of one another unfolded like a delicate tapestry of lives intertwined. The widow whose whispers echoed through the solemnity of Mass. A tale of the man who chose to forego Vespers. Once upon a time, there was a curious child who couldn't help but ask an endless stream of questions. Any of them might hold the key to why the goat stood still, caught in a moment of unexpected stillness. The distinction between the ethereal and the communal retribution faded swiftly. Whispers drifted through the air, settling softly like a delicate layer of frost upon the ground. Soft murmurs would reach your ears. She fails to kneel with the reverence expected, and I witnessed him labor on the sacred day of rest. Before you realized it, you found yourself at the heart of a gathering, either invoking blessings or facing scrutiny. As you braved the biting cold, striving to embody kindness, the priest found himself nestled in a bit more warmth. Not rich by the standards of the elite, yet certainly in a more favorable position than you. He possessed wine, genuine wine, a secluded chamber, perhaps a feathered pillow, and he frequently reminded you that your suffering was woven into the fabric of a divine plan, a notion that served him well, but left you in a different light. Yet you remained attentive, for what other paths remained to explore? Even the faintest glimmer of hope was the most valuable offering the church had to share. In a realm where a mere cough could claim a child's life, and a neighbor might disappear under the weight of a crumbling roof, the promise of heaven provided a bittersweet solace. If this existence were merely a tapestry woven with mud hunger and chill, then surely the next chapter would unfold with brighter hues, radiant pathways, gentle glow, free from chill, devoid of vermin. You clung to that vision, not for its clarity, but because it was essential. Otherwise, you were merely enduring the weight of existence, and that truth was too heavy for anyone to voice aloud. In the quiet of night, you would etch tiny crosses into the wooden beams above your bed, murmuring rosaries softly in the shadows. Charms would dangle from your belts, each one a guardian saint, a promise for safety, a lullaby for peaceful slumber, a plea to see the dawn once more. Each small act became a defiant stand against hopelessness. The chill remained unyielding. The hunger remained unquenchable. Yet perhaps you might linger in the favor of the divine just long enough to witness the arrival of spring. And that signified holding on to hope. Though your knees may have bled from the weight of your kneeling, and your prayers seemed to echo into silence, there lingered a whisper of doubt within you, questioning if anyone truly heard your pleas. And when the inevitable came, as it often did in the cold grip of winter, it was the church that endeavored to guide the departed to their final resting place, though the earth lay hard and unyielding beneath a frozen surface. Graves were either hewn open with picks or left shallow marked for a later time. In the chill of the moment, the priest's voice wove through the air, a soft chant in Latin, while the frost-bitten shroud lay still. Incense hung suspended in the icy breath of the scene, as the living with fingers stained crimson and faces pale laid the dead to rest beneath the weight of winter's grasp. At times, the body lay still, as if frozen in time. A humble gathering may take place in a barn or within the very walls of the home where family members come together. Encircling the wrapped figure, their prayers whispered softly, hoping to ward off the lurking shadows of wolves before they embrace their sorrow. Yet the church possessed responses for that as well. Death was a journey, a trial. The chill of the world could not accompany you to the realm of the divine. The craving would cease. The suffering was fleeting provided you held on to faith and followed the path laid before you. In the bleakest of times, there you are kneeling in a frigid church, your breath creating a mist upon the hymnals, pouring out confessions in search of some semblance of control, whispering prayers to a saint whose name has faded from memory. You pressed on, for belief in the harsh medieval winter transcended mere salvation. It was a tale of endurance. In the midst of the fiercest chill, it was neither the warmth of the flames nor the sustenance that fueled their spirits. In the stillness, there lingered a gentle yearning, a belief that perhaps, just perhaps, there was an ear attuned to the whispers of the heart. In a realm dominated by ice and scarcity, faith remained the one treasure that could not be seized. In the heart of winter, a tale unfolds that many choose to embrace as truth, that it concludes in March. Ah, spring, that faithful companion arrives with the precision of a well-timed tale, just when the world craves its warmth the most. Petals unfurling, melodies of returning birds, the sun casting its warm embrace over the vibrant fields. Yet during the Middle Ages, winter paid no heed to the passage of time marked by calendars. It arrived on its own terms, departed when it deemed fit, and at times lingered indefinitely. March, with its unpredictable whims, could be just as harsh as the depths of January. The snow continued to fall gently from the sky. Ice lingered on the eaves as if it had settled in for a long stay. The wind wailed like a restless spirit, while the sun hung low in the sky, pale and utterly indifferent to the world below. The snow gave way to mud, yet the challenges of life remained unyielding. It simply signified that your boots grew weightier. Spring whispered through the air, a fleeting promise yet to unfold. Hope was a perilous indulgence. As the last remnants of winter's chill faded away, the scars of the past remained etched in the landscape. The earth moved ahead, yet the souls remained still. What the winter did not freeze, it left to wither away. What it didn't starve, it shattered. Fragments of the past, instruments of creation, echoes of the unseen. Some families emerged from it more fragile. Some simply vanished into the shadows. As you strolled into town in April, you would encounter doors firmly closed, chimneys devoid of warmth, an absence of smoke, no traces of footsteps, only a profound stillness enveloping the scene. Then that specific kind of silence that signifies someone has not survived. Perhaps it was the elderly gentleman, his persistent cough echoing through the years, never finding relief. Perhaps it was the mother who selflessly shared her bread with her children, ensuring they were nourished, even when her own hunger grew. Perhaps it was the young one who fell ill in February and gradually slipped away. Funerals unfolded in hushed tones, if they occurred at all. As the chill of late winter settled in, the graveyard became a tapestry of sorrow, filling more swiftly than anyone had anticipated. In the depths of the season, the earth lay stubborn and unyielding, making it nearly impossible to dig. Thus, the departed were often tenderly wrapped and stored away in barns or caves, awaiting the moment when the ground would finally relent and allow them to rest in peace. Their scent would reach you long before their presence came into view. And even if you emerged from the shadows, there was no joy to be found in the aftermath. Upon encountering a crocus, you did not break into a melodic tune. Your gaze lingered on the earth as if it held a secret just for you. Perhaps, if one were to linger long enough, it might eventually yield a reward in return. A feast of dreams, a glimmer of possibility, a purpose to embrace. Spring arrived, but it brought no joyful rebirth. It was a painstakingly slow, treacherous journey out of the grave you almost fell into. You existed indeed, yet transformed, softly subdued, delicately slender. There was a time when laughter graced your days more often. Your trust diminished. You had witnessed the depths of hunger, the chill that could rob warmth, and the transformations that desperation could invoke in people. It remained unspoken. It wasn't spoken aloud, yet it lingered in the air between you. In the manner in which individuals recoiled from sudden sounds, gathered morsels with care, and gazed intently at stacks of firewood, as though tallying them like precious currency. One could easily discern those who had witnessed the final moments of another's life. One could discern those who had laid their own to rest. Yet the hunger lingered on refusing to fade even as winter took its leave. The shelves stood bare. Your livestock are lean. Not a single thing had blossomed just yet. Weeks would stretch into months before the fields would once again nourish you. Up until that moment, it was all about the anticipation. You simmered the very same roots. Once again, you crafted that same unyielding loaf of bread. In your heart, you yearned for the gentle embrace of rain, wishing to be spared from the cruel bite of another frost. And then came the labor of creation. Winter didn't merely take away your sustenance, it shattered your instruments, decayed your roofing, and brought your structures to the ground. With the arrival of spring, it was time to mend all that had been broken. Barriers coverings circles strength. One had to mend sow-cut and transport. Tasks piled high one atop the other, with no respite in sight. With hands weathered and worn from the chill of winter, you nestled the seeds into the earth. As you tended to the earth, a lingering cough from a January ailment escaped your lips. You carried on with your charade, all the while masking the hunger that lingered within you. We were not yet in the depths of sorrow. Do you still find yourself dreaming of being pursued barefoot through the snow by a figure bearing your brother's face? Chronicles from that era whisper truths beyond mere numbers. Parish logs recount the names of those laid to rest, yet they remain silent on the tales behind their passing. In the annals of time, tales unfold of bitter winters and untimely departures. They fail to speak of how a village of 60 could dwindle to 40 by April, how 10-year-olds bore the weight of years, and how women suffered the heartache of loss from the biting cold alone. This medieval winter was not merely a season to endure. It was an experience that enveloped all who faced it. It was an experience you endured in the most literal way. You've crossed the threshold into a new realm, neither unscathed nor complete, merely existing. And even that was a rare occurrence. Silence enveloped the topic of trauma, as if it were a hidden chapter in a forgotten book. It was a term that had yet to be born. Yet the signs were evident in each vacant gaze, in every child who recoiled from the breeze, in every man who found himself screaming in the dead of night. It was anticipated that you would forge ahead, reconstruct your life, and embrace gratitude. Yet there were those who remained rooted in the past. Silence fell over some, their voices fading into the background. Some indulged further. Some offered their prayers with greater fervor. Some simply slipped away into the shadows. In silence, they toiled the fields, their hands moving in harmony with the earth. Consumed without savoring, gazed upon their kin as if they were mere acquaintances. These were the ones who endured, the resilient few. The church provided a narrative for part of it. In the realm of the Sacred One encounters the profound journey of testing, where trials emerge as the crucible for the soul, leading to a transformative purification through the depths of suffering. Yet even that began to feel insubstantial when your little one remained asleep, or your mother was laid to rest alongside the Thor. The divine intention can only stretch so far before it begins to echo a sense of indifference. Yet you pressed on, for there was no other path to take. In the quiet of the morning, you gathered the feed and ventured out to the coop where the chickens awaited your arrival with eager clucks and fluttering wings. The door has been mended by you. You guided your remaining child in the art of discerning when the flower had lost its sweetness. Life continued its course, not due to any improvement, but simply because no one dared to halt its relentless march. And so, as the days of late May unfolded, a hint of green would finally emerge. Just a tiny sprout full of potential. Perhaps just a weed. Yet there's something more to it. It was a moment that invited pause, a fleeting sensation that the world could once more embrace a gentler touch. Spring merely painted over the past. It simply concealed it beneath new tasks and fleeting silhouettes. The losses lingered on. The stillness lingered. Every name that slipped away lingered in your memory. As the four unveiled the treasures buried beneath the snow, a boot, a rusted knife, a child's doll, you reached out with tender hands, cradling each item in silence. In time, the echoes of laughter would return once more. Soft, cautious chuckles dance around a fresh flame next to a pot of something slightly more palatable. It may not endure, yet it held a certain significance. Once upon a time, a spirited child darted after a lively chicken, their laughter echoing through the sunlit yard. A melody might waft through the air, carried by the breath of a weary flute. The aroma of damp soil and fresh sprouts took over the foul stench of decay and despair. Not joy, not yet, but a journey unfolding. And that was the finest outcome one could hope for. You sought not the embrace of joy, but rather a reprieve from suffering. In the quiet moments of reflection, you discovered the art of planting with foresight, mastering the craft of preservation, and fortifying your spirit against the storms of life. Yet within the very marrow of your being, there lingered a haunting awareness that the winter to come might bring even greater trials. The question was never if, but rather when it would unfold. And thus you carried your scars, your tales, and a careful kind of hope. There was no reason to delve into the depths of despair. For what purpose would it serve? Each person wove their own tale. All around fingers where numb loved ones lay beneath the earth. And there were nights filled with uncertainty about the dawn. As you strolled by the churchyard, your gaze lingered only briefly, a fleeting moment in the tapestry of your journey. As you beheld the fresh beginnings, a wave of past sorrow washed over you. And when someone inquired about the nature of your winter, you simply nodded in response, proclaimed, "We made it," for that was the refrain that echoed through the hearts of all. The reality unfolded in a way that was more intricate, chaotic, and chilling. It resided in the shadows of the room, in the manner you clutched your cloak closer, even beneath the warm embrace of the sun. In the manner you meticulously tallied your provisions once then again. In the manner you attuned your ears for the howls of wolves even as spring unfolded. Endurance did not equate to victory. It was a test of resilience. Yet during the Middle Ages that sufficed. With a gentle motion, you cleaned your hands, stoked the flames, sowed the next seed, and settled in anticipating the return of the chill. In an era where hope was a fleeting shadow, where warmth, sustenance, and the dawn of a new day were uncertain, surviving the harsh winter stood as the most profound miracle for the humble peasants. For many, there existed no melodies, no chronicles, no enduring marks, just another spring, and the subtle assurance of their presence in the world. For it is not mere survival that defines a hero. It simply signified that you remained upright when the snow ultimately decided to relent. And so it was that in the chill of the medieval winter, this singular triumph held all the significance in the world. Another breath lingering in the air. Another chapter awaits. Persevere.